Hey guys, so today we are looking at TH-U, but instead of doing a normal review as you see all over the internet where you go through every sound and just play some stuff or whatever sound, I'm going to do a series of videos that are going to look at very specific things that I find the kind of downfall of amp simulators. And so today, if you didn't notice, we are looking at fuzz pedals. So I found one of the hardest things I find using digital modelers is, one, they don't always have the proper feel you get from fuzz and some overdrives when you're playing into them. And that's because a lot of these pedals, especially old fuzzes, interact with your guitar, and you can't get that interaction because you've converted to digital, and it won't see the impedance of your guitar anymore, and so it's not really set up to do that. And the big problem is then I can use all the fuzz pedals I have, but they often don't work properly. They kind of over-compress. They don't really sound great through a lot of these emulations. And I found in TH-U, this is not the case. It actually kind of gets the fuzz pedals pretty good. So I started off here with an AC30 setup. It's basically a stock one. All I've done is add a ribbon mic on the speaker cab, as you can hear and see. So I'm using my BOSS Hyper Fuzz, which is basically a modded version of the Univox Super Fuzz with a 2-band EQ. It is my go-to fuzz pedal. It does this kind of octave up things. It's really aggressive. So that's what you heard there. I am playing my J&D Custom, my inauthentic J&D Custom. So that is kind of, straight up fuzz tone there. So I'm just going to keep with this pedal for a bit, play a few different amps and stuff, and see if it does change the tone. And it does what an amp would do, is like, it just sounds different. It kind of molds the tone rather than just kind of shits out a bit. So obviously this AC30 is fairly clean. The volume's fairly high up, so it's getting a little bit of crunch with these humbuckers, but I'm running on the low just to give me more headroom. So this is the humbucker in the bridge. Put the fuzz in. They're going to switch to the neck pickup with the tone rolled down. Here, it just sounds like it should. That's what the Hyper Fuzz should sound like through this kind of AC30 thing. It's kind of gnarly. It's got this kind of aggression to it. Compared to the Univox, the BOSS isn't quite as screechy, but it's still pretty kind of gnarly there. So let's go to something completely different and go to a Blackface Fender, and let's see if it sounds different. I'm just going to bin these, and we'll get up Darkface 65, and where is the cab? Darkface 65. As you can hear, straight away sounds different. So I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to have a look at, bring the volume down and bring the brightness up. Bass and treble, get a bit of a scoot Fender here. pedal off. Yeah, so you can hear that is quite different. Let's put the bright on. So that kind of sounds how I'd expect a Fender Blackface to kind of sound with the fuzz pedal. It's a bit muffly. Usually it's a bit more harsh, but it seems to be edging on the least harsh side. The TH-U, like everything's a bit warmer than I expect. But yeah, it's not as nice as the Vox. Doesn't have the mids. So next I'm just going to try something that often works with these octavey sounding pedals, and that is not running through a clean amp. So for this I'm going to use Slate's JCM 800. I'm going to bring the gain down a little bit, and this is kind of what we've got without the pedal. So that's the crunch tone. Now what tends to happen when you've got an overdriven amp with an actual valve amp and a fuzz pedal like this is it starts smoothing out the sustain. You get all this added sustain, but it doesn't fall apart. It's still got the essence of the fuzz, just with extra sustain and such. And I found using, pedals, like digital pedals and like a pod or like guitar rig and a lot of them, you do this and it just kind of gets this really, it's a kind of digital thing. It's not digital in that it sounds really harsh, it just kind of loses all clarity. It gets all flat and just weird. So let's see if this can handle the fuzz. You can hear that it kind of responds to my soft picking still. This one's more like a tube amp than I would normally expect. You still get a little bit of that flattening going on you heard when I played the bass notes, and that can happen on a valve amp too. I just find it's like overstated in the distortion of plugins, but I mean, maybe if I turn the power sag down that might help. Let's just try that. Yeah, that's a bit better. It's that power sag. It's that power sag emulation that kind of is overdone sometimes. But that sounds like my fuzz pedal into a JCM 800 to me. I mean, maybe not as harsh. Like I said, there seems to be a warmth to this TH-U stuff that you don't usually get. Real valve amps can be a bit harsher in other plugins, but it sounds like I expect. So I'm not just going to play one fuzz pedal, obviously. So let's get one of my favorites, my custom Triangle Big Muff. Now, this is a hard one to always get to work in any situation. So let's see what we can do with it. I'm going to, try it with a few other amps. Okay, so now with got my Triangle Big Muff clone, I straight away just played it into this. Sounds like a Big Muff to me. But let's go into a JTM 45, which this is meant to be. It's kind of plexi JTM 45-ish. Gonna chuck up some ambience. Mic B will be a just try 4-on-4 and a ribbon. Just for some old school vibes. Cool. So let's get a clean kind of thing. More volume, a bit less bass, a bit more presence maybe. So this isn't really dominating the muff sound. The muff isn't dominating. I mean, it's dominating like a muff would be, but it isn't like changing this does nothing and doesn't seem like, you know, affecting the fuzz tone. So that's a good one for there. Yeah, so that, you know, still got that typical Big Muff mids. It isn't really replacing all that tone. Let's go to the slow 88 clean. Now this seems a bit strange going to an SLO for clean, but I kind of like this clean, and we're going to use the Slate cabinet IR and go to a 412. Let's go to this 412. That is a perfect Big Muff fuzz tone to me. Like, I'd record with that and I haven't even touched any of the settings. Like, I'm not trying to overpraise TH-U. There is a few downfalls with effects and stuff. No, the fuzzes sound, well, there's only one fuzz in the Slate version, and that's meh. Totally meh. But I'm getting a bit of noise from this pedal. The shielding's not great on it. Without using an isolated power supply. But I think the amps are really good. And being able to use them with other pedals. I've got a whole pedal board can't speak today. I have a whole pedal board worth of pedals. I've got crates of pedals. And I'm not going to just throw them out because digital has come along. Because I think, like I said, fuzzes don't necessarily work so well in emulators. But being able to use my pedals with this for recording, as well as my amp, and just getting what sounds I want between both is a great thing. And you can really quickly get some interesting things in TH-U. So what I'm going to do, Big Muff, we're going to add some effects, and we're going to do a stereo chain. So I'm going to add this stereo chain in here. We're going to go this low clean on one side. And let's zoom out. Let's go with an orange. And Slate cabinet with an orange cab. Orange cab's here. Pan left and right. The orange is a bit loud. Turn the high frequency drive down. Off a bit here. Gain down a bit. So two similar but different tones. Down here, let's listen to it with the muff. Too much treble. Let's bring that down there. Put some bass up on this. Maybe some more drive. Let's take it to the next level. Let's get a kind of big stereo chorusy swelly thing. So I'm going to use this chorus ensemble at the front. Let's just stick it there. No, not there. The interface, still not my favorite on this. So we'll get it clean first. Yeah, I'm a bit meh on the effects still, but we'll just use what we've got. I tend to use effects outside, like Echo Boy and other Sound Toy stuff. That tends to be what I use. But we'll add a tape delay. flutter down a bit and spread up a bit more. That was using TH-U with fuzz pedals. Like I've said during this whole thing, like I actually really quite enjoying how it sounds. I have absolutely no problem using external pedals with this and external effects and getting tones I would, and kind of not necessarily eliminating it from my amplifier, but being able to use other amps and other tones and mix it in, or use just that, or when I'm need to do quiet demos or whatever, just using TH-U and getting tones I really like, and being able to use my pedals with gear I know, with tones I know, and getting the feel from those fuzz pedals that I kind of am used to getting. So that is TH-U with fuzz pedals. Put in the comments below if you want to see any other kind of similar things using TH-U or something else. I've got all of the Slate Access Pass, so we'll look at any of the plugins in there as well and what they can do with guitar as well as mixing stuff, and check out all my other guitar videos too. Most of my pedals I've done reviews of through my amp and stuff, and you can listen to them there. So thanks again, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Cheers.